Chapter 2, Speaking with Confidence. I'm going to review the PowerPoints from Chapter 2, and I'm going to focus primarily on the information that will help you to prepare for your first speech. And let's just start. I won't review the learning objectives. I know that you had an opportunity to read the learning objectives. And I think that we already understand that there is a process involved in public speaking, and there are definitely effective strategies for building our confidence. And some of the reasons why we're nervous is because we have a fear of humiliation and failure. We're concerned about preparation and performance. And we spoke about this in class, that if we prepare and we practice, then that eases a lot of anxiety. And then sometimes it's our own personal insecurity, and we think that we need to be perfect when in actuality we do not. And let's talk about the biology of being nervous. Sometimes it could be genetic. Sometimes we might be predispositioned to be anxious. And instead of us focusing on what we can't do, let's focus on what we can do. And think about what happens to your body when you get nervous. You automatically go into this fight or flight mode. And it's quite normal, believe me, to have butterflies in our stomach or to increase our breathing, because guess what's happening? More adrenaline is being produced in our bodies. And so I also have provided a list of resources, specifically breathing techniques that we can do right before we have to speak. So please utilize this. Now, one thing that we can make happen is we can make our anxiety work for us. So we're going to feel nervous, but you might not necessarily look nervous. And we can't necessarily make it go away, but we can rename our anxiety and tame it. Utilize it to make us excited about what we're going to be speaking about. Remember how we discussed how that we want to select a topic that we have an interest in. And even though we might be nervous, we're still going to be excited about talking about this particular topic. And so we want to use our nervousness or our anxiety to propel us forward, to help us to deliver information that we want the class to know. So we're going to be nervous. Okay. It's part of being a human. Everyone gets nervous before they speak. But remember, we can minimize our anxiety by practicing and preparing. So before our speech, we're not as nervous. But once we begin our speech, that's the height of us being nervous or anxious. But once we start working through our speech, then our anxiety curtails and we see that people are taking in our information. So a couple of things that we want to do is we want to know our audience. We want to know what they need to hear, what are some of their goals and hopes, and we don't want to procrastinate. This will always cause poor speech performance. We want to make sure that we have enough time to prepare and that we do prepare. And then most importantly, as I mentioned and what was said in the book, we want to select an appropriate topic, something that we're familiar with and that we're definitely passionate about. And one of the things that we're working on this week is we're developing an outline so that we know what we're going to say and in what order we're going to present each of our topics for our speech. And we're going to always remember that the most important part of our speech is our introduction. And then another important part is our conclusion. We're not going to memorize this. We're going to use notes for our first speech. So do not be worried. Again, we want to practice. We want to say it out loud. We want to stand while we're delivering our speech. We want to breathe. We want to breathe. And remember, we're going to channel our nervous energy to act calm and to feel calm. And there's so many different ways we can do this. We can walk. We can do muscle exercises. We can wiggle our toes. But most importantly, we want to breathe. We want to visualize a positive response from our audience. And we want to give ourselves positive messages. We don't want to think negatively. We want to have positive thoughts. And I want you to take some time to review some mental pep talks. We want to focus on our message and not our fear. We want to review our ideas and our introduction and conclusion. And then look for some folks in the audience that will positively support us. Be focused on our audience, but not too focused. Remember that it's not necessarily about you. It's about conveying information. It's about relaying information. Don't get so caught up in ourselves where we forget that we're speaking about a topic that we're passionate about, that we want our audience to know about. If we want, and what I highly suggested, is find yourself a buddy. Find a public speaking buddy, someone that you can practice with, someone that you can look at when you're delivering your speech. And then learn how to empathize with other students' anxieties. And throughout this course, I want everybody to take any opportunity they can to speak in front of other people. And then once you do, or you take these opportunities, focus on the fact that, guess what? You just showed up. And don't focus on how fearful you were. Focus on the fact that you showed up. Thank you so much for listening to this. And I hope this helps you on your journey of public speaking.